Hey, welcome. Have you ever wondered what really separates a pretty good song from an absolutely unforgettable one? Well, 9 times out of 10, it's the melody, that one part that just burrows into your brain and refuses to leave. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and demystify how those melodies are actually built. Let's get right into it.
And it really all boils down to this one simple question. Just think about your all-time favorite songs, right? The ones that have stuck with you forever. What is it about them? It's almost never just the cool drum beat or the lyrics alone. No, it's that central singable line, the melody that carries the entire emotional weight of the track. And this right here just nails it. This is the core truth. If you strip away everything from a song, the one thing that people will remember, the part they hum in the shower, the part they whistle walking down the street, that is the melody. It's the song's soul. It's its fingerprint. All right, so let's dig in and build a solid foundation. The best way to think about this is to imagine music as a story. If that's the case, then the melody is your main character. It's the one delivering all the important lines. Okay, so here's the textbook definition, but the words you really need to focus on are meaningful and singable. A melody isn't just a random jumble of notes. It has to feel like it's going somewhere on purpose. And this is crucial, it has to be something a human being can actually sing back. This is such a great way to get the difference between melody and its partner, harmony. Think of it like a movie scene. The melody is the specific story being told, the dialogue. But the harmony, that's the emotional atmosphere. It's the lighting, the weather, the whole mood of the scene. The melody's the sentence, harmony provides the context. Now, this is where it gets really, really interesting. Let's talk about the physics of a great melody. As it turns out, catchy melodies aren't just random lightning strikes of genius. They actually follow some surprisingly simple principles, almost like laws of nature that guide how they move. And here is rule number one, the big one. A melody has a center of gravity. It's not just floating around aimlessly. It lives within a specific musical key, and it always feels this magnetic pull back to its home note, what we call the tonic. That's what makes a melody feel satisfying and complete, instead of just lost. So how does a melody actually get from one note to another? Well, it really only has two basic moves. The first one is called stepwise motion. It's exactly what it sounds like, just moving to the very next note, up or down the scale. It's smooth, it's natural, it's super easy to sing. The other option is a leap, jumping over a few notes. This is where you get your drama and excitement, but you've got to use it carefully. And just look at this. This might be the single most important takeaway of this whole thing. The vast majority of memorable melodies, we're talking 85%, sometimes more, are built on that simple, stepwise motion. Leaps are the spice, They're not the main ingredient. If you use too many, the whole thing just sounds chaotic and becomes impossible to sing. And that brings us to this really cool trick, the balance rule. It's simple. When you do use a big dramatic leap, you need to balance it out. So if you jump way up, the listener's ear naturally wants you to walk gently back down. Following this rule makes your dramatic moments feel intentional and satisfying, not jarring or like a mistake. Okay, so we've got the physics down. Now for the arts. How do we take these notes and shape them into something that feels like a real story, with character, with structure, with a beginning, middle, and end? You know how your voice naturally goes up when you ask a question? Or kind of comes down when you make a statement? Well, a melody does the exact same thing. It has a shape, what we call a contour. You can feel it when it climbs in intensity, or when it falls with a feeling of release. These shapes are absolutely fundamental to the emotion it conveys. And believe it or not, out of all these shapes, the arch is the undisputed king. It is by far the most common and pleasing shape you will find in music all across the world. So why? It's because it perfectly mirrors things we do naturally, the arc of human speech, of taking a breath, building up to a point, and then resolving. It just feels right. So, what are these melodies actually made of? Well, at the very core, you have the motif. Think of it like this. If the melody is a person, the motif is its DNA. It's that short, recognizable little pattern of notes or rhythm that gets repeated and changed a bit throughout the song. It's what makes the whole thing feel connected and memorable. And then you take those little DNA bits, those motifs, and you build them into phrases. A phrase is basically just a complete musical sentence. I mean, you wouldn't talk in one long, breathless run-on sentence, right? Well, melodies can't do that either. They need structure, they need places to breathe and pause. Okay, so let's zoom out for a second, because a melody never lives in a vacuum, right? It's always in this deep, interconnected relationship with the harmony, the chords playing under it, and the rhythm that actually brings it to life. This is a game changer. At any given moment in a song, some notes just feel more stable, more at home. We call these strong notes. They're the notes that are actually inside the chord that's playing in the background. All the other notes, they're weak notes or passing notes. They're what create that feeling of movement and tension. And this gives us a super simple but incredibly powerful golden rule for making your melody sound like it fits perfectly. You want to travel through those weak, passing notes to create interest, but you want to land on the strong chord tones, especially on the important beats. That's what makes a melody sound grounded. And finally, please, please do not forget rhythm. Seriously, you could have the most beautiful sequence of pitches in the world, but without an interesting rhythm, it's just going to fall flat. The timing, the mix of long notes and short notes, and just as important, the use of silence, that is what gives a melody its character. All right, enough theory. We've covered the what and the why. Now for the fun part. Let's put all of this together into a simple, practical method you can use to write your very first melody, like right now. Here it is, a simple recipe. First, just pick a home base, a key, and a single chord to start. Then, and this is the most important part, just hum. Don't even think about it. Just hum whatever you feel over that chord. Once you get a little spark of an idea, then you can start refining it with the rules we talked about. Try to keep it mostly stepwise, land on the chord's notes, shape it like an arch, and bring it back home. But always remember the number one rule. Hum first, apply the theory later. And hey, here's a quick cheat sheet of what to avoid. Think of this as a checklist for when you get stuck. Is your melody jumping around all over the place? Are you completely ignoring the chords playing underneath? Is it just one long, endless stream of notes with nowhere to breathe? Keep this list handy. It'll help you figure out what's not working. You know, this quote just says it all. A truly great melody isn't about stringing together a bunch of correct notes according to the rules. It's about taking an emotion, an intention, a feeling inside of you, and making it audible so that somebody else can feel it too. It forces you to ask, what am I actually trying to say? So at the end of the day, you have the blueprint now. You understand the architecture, the physics, and the art of what makes a melody connect with us. So the only real question left is the one right there on your screen. What story will your melody tell?